Hello, everybody. Clay here, Cardboard Empires. Most of the videos that I make are targeted towards people who are already a part of the Pokemon collecting hobby, who are already investors or retailers. The videos that I make have very specific niche information that maybe not be applicable to everybody in the hobby, especially newcomers or beginners. So today I want to go over some topics that are really important to people who are just getting into the hobby. If you're just getting into Pokemon, maybe you heard a friend talk about it, maybe you read an article or saw a YouTube video and you thought, hey, Pokemon, I get that. I remember watching or playing Pokemon when I was a kid. I didn't even know that was still a thing. I didn't realize that as an adult, I could get back into Pokemon. That's awesome. Well, this video is for you. If you find yourself just maybe at the beginning stages of doing research or you're just starting to buy product for your investment or collection, let's go over some of the things that I think are going to be the most collectible or investable in 2021. And that's going to start off with, and this is especially if you're a beginner, sealed product. Things like booster boxes or ETBs have a really strong track record of increasing in value over time. Now, admittedly, we have seen explosive growth in Pokemon over the last 12 months, and the returns that people have been getting in as short of a window as release date to 3 months after release are probably not going to be realistic in the long run. You're not going to be able to double your money every 3 months for the next 10 years. If that were the case, the stock market would crash tomorrow and the Pokemon market would be the new Wall Street. So we can't really expect that for forever, but at least for now, it's a sure bet. And I hate to say those words because pride cometh before the fall, of course. But right now, analyzing the Pokemon market, sealed product is a sure bet. Especially booster boxes and ETBs. Some other things like these collection boxes do well too. But it's going to come down to, one, how much money do you have to spend on something? I would say that if you have $150, I guess on pre-order booster boxes are probably sitting around closer to $150 now. But if you have $150 to sink into a product, I would choose a booster box. Or if you want to scale back down to like the $50 mark, choose an ETB. These are great too, but ETBs and booster boxes have been very strong performers over the long run. The other question that you're going to have to ask yourself is, how much space do I want to dedicate to this new hobby or investing vehicle of mine? This isn't like buying stocks. This is going to take a significant amount of space in your house or office, wherever you're going to be storing this material. Especially if you're maybe buying cases of booster boxes or cases of ETBs, you might need an entire room just to store this stuff. So if you don't have an entire room to store sealed product, maybe that would be a good time to transition to cards. But if you can avoid it, especially as a newcomer, I would avoid single cards for now. The next place, aside from sealed product, would be already graded slabs. So if you're a newcomer, maybe I'm just going to have to assume that you don't know this information, but this is a graded card. What people do is they buy raw cards. Here's a raw card, just nothing special, but they send it off to this company, PSA, says on the back there, PSA. And what they do is they grade the card. They issue the card a grade from 1 to 10. This is an 8. And the higher the grade, the better condition the card is in. So if this card was a 10, then that would mean that this card is flawless. It's beautiful. It's considered gem mint. It's pristine. It's an 8 because it has a scratch on the hollow foil. And along with the grade, the number grade of the card, the premium of how much that card sells for on the secondary market follows. So if this were a Gem Mint 10, this card would fetch a substantially higher premium than it does as an 8. Now, the last time I checked, which was a while ago, admittedly, this card in a 10 was going for somewhere let's say around $8,000, between $8,000 and $10,000. Um, in an eight, it was going for around $1,000. So a significant multiplier. But that would be the next best place after sealed product that I would advise any brand newbie to the hobby to put their money. And that has to do with a lot of it because they're sealed in cases, so they're preserved. They're already in kind of an archival quality. You don't have to worry about what happens if I buy a raw card and it gets damaged, it gets bumped around. I don't have to invest in card condos or some of the other ways that protect cards, like binders. Don't put your investment cards in binders, please, unless you know what you're doing. Usually, if you have investment cards and you want to put them in binders, you need to double sleeve those and get special binders. I know a lot of people like using side loaders. It's a whole category. So if you don't want to sink that much time into learning, especially as a newcomer, the proper way of storing raw cards, go for slabs. That said, slabs also tend to appreciate in value faster than raw cards. Not all slabs are made equal. Not all cards inside the slabs are as highly coveted as other cards. And for that, you're going to want to spend a month or two just looking around the market and seeing what's selling, seeing what people are talking about. Go to the E4 message boards. There's always really great topics of discussion going on at E4. Watch websites like PokeBeach, and watch other people's channels. There's a lot of people out there talking about, like, what are the hot cards right now? Where are the prices moving on this particular card? And really take some time to be a sponge and soak in all that information, because the more information that you have, the better you can do moving forward. A great person who's talked about really high-end cards is going to be Jake, like Jake Pokenomics, I think his channel is, Jake and Rafi Pokenomics. I'm sorry, right off the top of my head, I can't remember the channel name, but very knowledgeable person in the Pokemon space. And his content is geared more towards like the really high-end cards. So if you find yourself jumping into the Pokemon card collecting world and you're looking for like the really upper echelon cards, I would watch his videos, or even maybe try to contact him directly and talk about what would be the best place to park maybe $50,000 if that's what you're looking to do. Park $20,000, even $10,000. If you're looking to maybe dip a toe in slower rather than jump headfirst in, there's a lot of modern cards that are being graded, coming back 10s, and I would try to stick to 10s at least for now. Cards that you think are good-looking cards that might appreciate in value. The really well-known characters like your Charizards and your Pikachus, I would try to stick to those, and maybe modern. You could scoop up some 10s for probably around $50. Not very much money at all. If you're looking to sink a little bit more money in, then something like this is always a classic. WotC era cards are probably the safest place of all to sink your money into slabs, but it's going to be a little bit more expensive. And without the knowledge that I was talking about before, it's going to be a little bit more precarious, because there are going to be some traps to newcomers. Some cards that are slabbed in 10s are WotC era cards, but not very desirable cards. And so a newcomer might see that card and be like, oh my gosh, it checks all the boxes. It's a PSA 10. It's a WotC era card. It's a holo. This is fantastic. And it might not be a card that has really historically done very well as far as market price goes. There are websites out there that you could check for up-to-date market pricing on cards. Pokemon Prices, I think .com. There are several websites that you can look to see how these cards historically have done in their PSA graded condition. PSA itself has a pop report on their website that will show you how many of these slabs exist and what the historical data has been for the sales of that card. And these are important things when considering buying the slab. How many of this card is out there? If there's 20,000 of this card out there in a PSA 10, then you know well, it's probably not going to be worth very much. It's not going to fetch a super high premium. Usually, cards with the lowest um, population in the world are going to fetch the highest premium. So you're going to want to try and stick to cards that have the lowest population that you can get in your price range. And if you don't want to really mess around with slabs, your next best move is to go into single raw ungraded cards. And for that, it's the wild, wild west. It's up to you. It's hard to say from an investment or a collectible standpoint what is going to do the best over time. Historically, WotC cards have always been a fantastic place to put your money. Even the low end commons have improved in value over time. But it's hard to predict the future. Is somebody going to value a Bulbasaur at $30,000 in 6 months? Who knows? I know a lot of people don't like modern, and I like modern as far as even as collectible and investable go. The Chonkachu, the modern Chonkachu, I haven't been in love with a lot of the modern Charizards, but I think this speaks to a bigger point that this is all personal taste, and that's what it's going to come down to. Is you have to see something that you like. You have to develop a taste for cards, and it's like furniture or food. You have your own specific style or taste, and you apply that to the cards you buy. Because you have to remember, especially when you're investing, right now you are the investor, and what you're doing is you're buying something with the hopes of in the future selling it to somebody else who is a collector or an investor. So you are in the shoes of the person that you're going to be hoping to sell to in the future. So if you remember that, then there's really no mistakes. I don't see really too much downfall in buying a card that maybe doesn't 20x in value over the next year, because you bought something that you like and eventually it will find a home. It is my personal opinion anyway. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. I leave my email address in the description down below. I also have an Instagram at the same name, Cardboard Empires. And I love talking to people about this stuff, so feel free to reach out. We'll have a chat. And if you liked the video, if you made it this far, congratulations. That's amazing. Feel free to consider hitting the subscribe button. Consider hitting the like button so that I can get the motivation that I need to continue to make videos. And thanks for watching the video. And as always, I will catch you later.